Shalom Makers. Want to give an update here on what we use to actually sharpen knives. So some of you have probably seen our butchering video and other stuff like that. And to butcher a cow, it takes a pretty sharp knife. And usually it's not just one knife, it's multiple knives. Or you have to go ahead and actually sharpen the actual knife. So there's a couple different systems that we use here. So this particular system here is from Fortune Products. It's called the AccuSharp. The AccuSharp system. And I'll be honest, this is the only thing I really use this for, is to actually take any big burrs or nicks or anything like that off of the knife. You know, if I need to take down the metal. So that's really the only piece that I use for that. In that sense, I do find it actually pretty helpful. In the past, I used to use a stone, you know, real fine grit, coarse grit on this side, and then of course using your oil. I'll be honest, I've never been good at doing this. So I think it's truly an art, and I must not have the skill. So it's one of those pieces where a couple friends of mine are capable of doing this real well. But even then, I still think that there's a better, faster way of doing it, unless you're kind of out in the middle of nowhere and you don't have access to electricity or other pieces. So this is a good skill to have. I don't have it. I guess I could do it in a pinch, but it's one of those pieces where I've just always had a hard time doing it. The system that I actually use to sharpen my knife, we'll just pull out a knife that I use just commonly around the house here. Just a Gerber 450. It's made in the United States. I don't think they're actually made in the United States anymore, which is pretty depressing to me because I continue to see more and more things brought overseas, but I'll get on that rant some other time. So this is this is an older Gerber. Like I said, it's a 450. I use it around the house. A lot of times I'm actually cutting in the dirt with it and other things, so that's what I use to usually harvest asparagus and other things. So it goes through a lot of abuse. Use it as probably a screwdriver more often than I should, and a few other probably other tools that it's not necessarily required. But today I'm going to go ahead and sharpen it, and we're going to sharpen it on a grinding wheel system that we use. And the grinding wheel system that we use is actually called Slicing Edge Sharpening System. And it's a two-part system. So this two-part system, actually on this particular side, there's actually a little bit of rough sandpaper on it. And when you actually buy the kit from them, it actually comes with some additional grit that you can actually glue on. They actually just tell you to resurface it. You just put a little Elmer's glue on there, and then you just put a little of this back on there, and it actually stays real well. And this side here is actually for if you have any nicks or burrs, or you need to create a little bit of an edge. This is the side that you use. This particular side over here is nothing more than it's a solid cardboard, and it's got some flutes in it to relieve. And you actually put a little bit of this, I believe it's goose oil, actually on here before you sharpen it, so that way it takes down some of your friction, and it also does a great job polishing. So I'm going to go ahead and demonstrate what we're doing here, and then I will get back with you in a minute and we'll test it out to see how sharp it is. We'll test it out, see if I can actually shave some hair off my arm. So we went ahead and sharpened the knife. We'll go ahead and put some clips in there. I'll just give you a couple tips though. When you're sharpening, want to make sure that the stone or the actual wheel is running straight along here. So even if that means you got to take your knife and actually curl it, you always keep your knife edge really straight against that wheel. And you never want to have it to actually offset. You want to make sure it's nice and flat against there. And so that's why I always wear the safety glasses. So when I look down on it, I can make sure that the knife is always making 100% contact with the blade is making contact with the wheel. So we'll go ahead and do the test here. This is where I normally test as far as where I'm at, and we'll see if we can actually shave ourselves here. Looks like we're cutting hair. So if we can cut hair, I'm feeling like we've done a pretty good job. So this now will be a knife that I'll keep back in my pocket. Hopefully I won't abuse it too much, but thankfully I do have a good sharpening system and it works out real well. Thanks again for watching. Shalom.